Retrospective here, and we'll do 2 rooms here, but wanted to show a good room takedown, or at least a good half room takedown. The opposing team here was working to our armory pretty quickly, so we needed to take down this room fairly quickly as well to keep pace. I think this is a really good example of how to just completely work together and do things correctly. So they did a couple boosts here. This guy used his power armor team, although he doesn't use vision on it. Use vision on your power armor team is it's the best spot for him, and it's just it makes him go way better. So because he doesn't have vision though, this punch up to me doesn't seem that bad. Normally I wouldn't want to use power armor on a hodgepodge team like this, but in this particular case it's kind of okay. Next, some more boosts, and Ant uses his Wakandan's team on this hodgepodge team. Wakandans at this low level aren't going to do any sort of meta beating, but I believe Ant has his passive into Shuri's, or his T4 into Shuri's passive, so it makes him pretty formidable. This is a Brawlers team. That 40k, Captain Marvel is no joke, so this is not really a terrible attack, and because it's such a big punch-up, I kind of like it. Alright, Malone had a pretty bad sequence this part, but he cleans up his own mistake. He doesn't really use too many meta tunes here. He doesn't use another power armor team or something like that. So this is fine. It just sucks to lose energy. I did the same mistake earlier in the war, so it's not a big deal. Then Malone loses again with his team. So with this Avengers team, I don't really like Ant-Man on this team. I think Quake is much better. The spread slow is much better for 2 turns rather than the 1 turn slow that comes late. So a lot of these guys will take their first turn already. Like Kingpin and I think Crossbones and Hand Sentry will all go right after Ant-Man's slow. So then you're going to use his ability block first turn, in which case you're probably going to use ability block on either Kingpin or Hand Sentry. It's just not the best use of his. I think Quake is much better in this scenario. It gives you another AoE that gives you more damage, so it's really good control there. It gives you a dispel, so there's just a lot more use out of Quake in my opinion. That being said, he cleans it up pretty well. If you notice, he used Quake in his cleanup. I think if he used Quake from the get-go, it would have been much better. So that's my 2 cents. I actually punch up 20k with my Avengers team here, and it's really good, and I actually made a video about this, so you can check out the video to see how I did it. Avengers is not a meta team, so they're not really beating a ton of meta teams, so this punch-up is fine. It's good use of it. It's a medium team to beat other medium hodgepodge teams that are a little higher, so it's a pretty okay punch-up. Then we saw this Ultron team, and they boosted, and this is a really scary team, to be honest. Captain Marvel's scary, Ultron's scary, War Machine's scary. Captain Marvel's getting the extra boost on her binary. Vision gives defense up to everybody. So it's a pretty scary defense. It's not one that you see often because this pulls from so many teams. It pulls from Power Armor, it pulls from a Captain Marvel team, it pulls from Avengers, it pulls from Ultron team. So it's just you're pulling from 3 different teams here. So it's not often common, but what I wanted to do was just have someone nuke, below Captain Marvel's ult, and then hopefully have Ultron summon, and then just sit there, and you can time out Ultron so that then he won't get any of the energy gain from his ultimate, which is pretty nice to do. That being said, I believe Ultra was going to power armor them, and I think you could do this with the lower power armor, but because of the way it worked out, Ultron, we wanted to kill this team fast, so this punch-up is not as big, but it's also a pretty solid move. Luckily, they actually boosted right after he took this feeder team in, and that actually helps power armor a lot, so, go figure. That actually helped them out. So that's a really good takedown, really good way of doing it, 2-shot. Immediately after that, I saw the defenders open up, and I took them, and I actually have a video about this as well. This is a really epic battle, and it's a really good punch-up. If they had boosted them, that would have been really bad. If they killed our armory, this would have been a really scary team. It would have been, 15% probably, 30, 60, 70, it would have been more 400k defenders team. That would have been really scary. So glad we were able to take it down before that happened. Then immediately after that, the Mid Guardians opened up, and Ant took them down with his Brotherhood Hybrid. This is a really powerful Brotherhood Hybrid team, really good usage out of it. Yeah, just a really solid takedown, 80k punch up. So 100k punch up, 80k punch up, and then 2-room takedown of these like 3 meta teams is really, really great work. And Wally then cleans up the last half of this team with this kind of Fantastic Four hybrid, because Invisible Woman's not out yet. Pretty solid punch up, really solid move just to clear it out, just get it, move on, over with. So really good work. Later on, after we were done with a lot of other teams, we came back to the room. I don't like using power armor for defenders. I think I've said that many times. I think we should have as many Fury Shield teams as possible to kill all the defenders we need to. So just don't think power armor is the best use of their abilities. And to lose is also really sucks as well. But it's a pretty big punch up here. It's probably too big, to be honest. So I'm not surprised that there was an issue there. But if you can get that ability block on Luke Cage, you're in business. But it's pretty tough otherwise. That being said, Wade comes in and barely wins against this Midgardians team, which is amazing. This is why against Midgardians I like that Ant-Man Venom combo better. But you can win with Brotherhood. It was even a punch up, like a 20k punch up, so it wasn't like nothing to sneeze at. Really solid use, and apparently eat out the wood. I really would love to see a replay of that. Then Wade uses his Fury team here. I'm guessing his Fury team is just a little bit too low for this, because they're not balanced in that sense. But otherwise, I'm not exactly sure how he lost. He took Trooper in, so I'm guessing his Trooper is just too low power to nuke down the Iron Fist in time. So he just wasn't able to get that Iron Fist killed on first turn. So it's a little bit tough there. But neither. And that Link's able to clean it up pretty easily, so it's not a big deal. Pretty solid. Link's able to punch up 50k using his Midgardians on this Avengers team now. This is not really the best matchup to take with Midgardians, but because his Midgardians are only 175k and this is like a 50k punch up, is generally pretty solid. So I think that's like a okay move. And then Link uses power armor on this Captain Marvel team. I'm okay with this because Captain Marvel's pretty scary and it's a brawlers team, so it's nothing to sneeze at. It's generally okay to do that. Captain Marvel is scary, so it's fine to kill him pretty easily. Then he uses his hybrid power armor team on, that was Blue Hawk that did that. Yeah. So and then Link uses his hybrid power armor team to kill this 185k team. Again, don't think this is the best use of resources, and I think Captain Marvel's is much better in different teams, but I can understand why he did that, because I don't think he has Iron Man yet, so I think he's still working on getting Iron Man, so that makes sense. And then some combat cancels here. These aren't as good to combat cancel, especially because you can blow all their ults in turn 2 and then make the cleanup super easy. So I really don't like combat canceling against teams like this, because worst case scenario, you cripple them. They have no ults. There's no offense up, defense up from Kingpin. Crossbones doesn't have his detonate. Yondu uses his ult already, so there's no reason to combat cancel in this scenario. And then Langdon goes ahead and uses his Avengers team, and then he combats cancels as well. Again, this is just really bad gameplay, to be honest. There's no reason to do this. See, if Link didn't combat cancel, then Langdon probably wouldn't be able to clean up. And if Link didn't cancel, then someone else would have been able to clean up pretty easily. So it's kind of frustrating. And if you notice, Link went in again and then didn't combat cancel. So it was just a waste of 3 energy all around. And if this team doesn't deserve it, like worst case scenario, you lose 2 teams and you move on. So I really disagree with that decision. Towards the back half, then Nash came in and he was trying to use a lot of his teams really quickly because he just joined the alliance, so he was waiting for the 24-hour clock to expire. So I believe that's why he's overkilling here. Although with Spider-Verse, can you really overkill on Fury Shield team, because Spider-Verse is so bad? But anyways, then he uses this hodgepodge hybrid X-Men team, which is pretty good against this Kree team, so that's good. And then he finishes off with Mystic Controller team. Although I'm surprised he doesn't use Scarlet Witch here. Scarlet Witch would probably be a really good use of attunes here, but he just kind of overkills the last 3 guys on this team, so it's fine. Super easy cleanup. And that's that room. All right, this was Hangar, I believe.